This is Susan Bradley for CSO Online. Today I'm going to talk about Azure Security Benchmark v2. Recently at Microsoft Ignite, they announced the new v2 version of the Microsoft Security Benchmark. So what's new in the v2? They've included controls for NIST SP 800-53, and they're going to be mapping that between the Azure Security Benchmarks and the NIST benchmarks. So what are these benchmarks? Basically, it comes down to best practices. It's things like network security. To control and secure Azure networks, virtual networks, private connections. It's identity management. In the cloud, the new security edge is the identity. So this includes controls to establish a secure identity, including Azure Active Directory. It includes single sign-on, strong authentication, managed identities for applications, conditional access. Privileged access is a key item that you need to monitor. Especially in any cloud service, the attackers want to go after your global admins, so you want to make sure you understand and protect those roles. So privileged access is a key thing that you need to look at, investigate, and make sure you understand how to protect. Data protection. Are you doing enough to protect the raw data in your organization? To make sure that they're scanned and protected and identified as they travel across your network. Next, one of the areas that I think is underutilized is logging and threat detection. Make sure that in your cloud storage that you identify where logging occurs, turn it on in cases where it's not turned on, and make sure you have data going to either Azure Sentinel or a third-party logging tool. Do you understand how to do incident investigation in a cloud scenario? Again, you'll want to look at the benchmark to give you ideas of workflow automation. In the v2 version of the Azure controls, they map between CIS controls version 7.1 and also NIST SP 800-53. Soon they'll also be documenting the mapping between these and also the PCI controls as well. Now currently in my Azure Security Center, I still only have the Azure CIS 1.1.0, but soon I'll have the v2 in there as well. Now what if I want to up my game a little bit and actually do some customized compliance policies? There's a couple of ways I can do it. If I go in and click on Manage Compliance Policies, I choose my subscription. Then I come down here and I want to look at industry and regulatory standards. And as you can see, I've got several down here. I want to add even more. And you can see the custom ones that I can build that builds on HIPAA, Azure Security Benchmark, CIS 1.1.0, NIST, UK. You get the idea. That we can build on these benchmarks and build the information into our systems. There's yet another way to build out security in your Azure, and that's something called landing zones. This gives you fully integrated governance, security, and operations from the get-go with pre-templates. So here in GitHub is the example of what they're planning to do. A management group hierarchy is deployed along with Azure policies that will enable autonomy for the platform and its landing zones. If you have an Azure subscription dedicated for management, you can do log analytics, Azure Security Standard monitoring, Azure Sentinel, diagnostic settings, etc., etc. Now, if you plan to have these landing zones, you have to establish permissions in your Azure tenant. So you have to go to Azure Active Directory, click on Manage Properties. Under the Access Management Resources, toggle it to Yes. Now that's default for No if you've not come in here before. Then you have to grant access to the user at the root scope. So what's this about? You basically open up a PowerShell window and grant additional rights. So I have the Azure Cloud Shell opened up, and I'm just going to do my commands in here to give myself rights. Well, obviously I've already done it, so it gives me the error message that it already exists. But if you hadn't given yourself rights, this would come back with a message indicating that the rights and permissions have been added. Now you can come back and actually set up these settings. Start here in the basics. Pick the location of the region that you want to deploy this to. you'll have to set up an enterprise scale company prefix. Now I'm just going to do a test here, so I'll just use the word test. You'll then go down your selections of what you want to do as your default. So here we're setting up Analytics Workspace. We're setting up data retention for 30 days. We're picking our subscription. We're going to deploy an agent health solution, change tracking solution, update management solution, activity log solution, VM insight solution, anti-malware solution, service map, SQL assessment. We're going to deploy Azure Security Center and enable security monitoring. And last but not least, we're going to deploy Azure Sentinel as our defaults. Now, you may not be able to do all of these. You'll have to check the pricing. I have some links in the article about how to determine the pricing. So you may want to run some tests to see how much this is going to cost. But once you set this as default, this will be your framework for everything in the subscription. Landing zone configuration. Again, pick the subscription. You determine which things are going to be impacted. So, do you want all of your Azure VMs to be monitored? Do you want the ARCs to be monitored? Do you want to prevent inbound RDP from the internet? And by the way, while I'm here, if you have not done that already, or if you're not devising some better way to access your machines, don't do it with straight inbound RDP from the internet. Especially these days, attackers are using all sorts of means and methods to directly attack OpenRDP. So if you do that currently, where you allow OpenRDP from your internet, think twice, because attackers are using that as a key way they can get into systems. And you get the idea that you can go through and set up a default for all of your subscriptions. Click on Review and Create. It runs the final validation. And if everything's ready to go, it will actually say to create. And there you go. That's the way to automatically, by default, have yourself set up in a secure format from the get-go. If you want to give any feedback to Microsoft regarding these benchmarks or any of these security settings, go ahead and send them an email, benchmarkfeedback@microsoft.com. Until next time, this is Susan Bradley for CSO Online. Everyone stay safe, stay secure.